Hey everybody, it's Mad Master here. I'm doing another video today, and this is a kind of a follow-up video to one I did several months ago, and it's about a definition of the word woke. I got into some arguments about this on some some of my comment threads and stuff. So I'm going to do a revised version of what I said earlier about it. Done a little bit more research, and I am kind of coming out and just kind of extrapolating on what I said. So basically what I consider woke is critical theory and postmodernism, a mix thereof, as applied to popular culture and society at large in the guise of social justice. One line, pretty clean. And this is, I've read this book and I highly recommend it. Now, this is a controversial book, a controversial author who I have problems with, one of the authors, because I think he frames this whole thing the wrong way to some extent. I think he throws around the term communist or Marxist way too much in the way that I don't think, I'm not a Marxist or a communist, obviously. Now, I don't mind all of what Karl Marx said. I find some of his ideas valuable or tenable in modern society. That does not mean I'm a Marxist, though. Well, some people might think I am, whatever. But I am not. Now, the critique of capitalism coming from Marx, I do agree with a lot of it. The solutions, there's a kind of a, just like Bakunin, stated about, he was an anarchist philosopher. It was going to lead to some tyrannical things that happened later, of course, and he was predicting right. So, just like with Ayn Rand, I'm not like a objectivist, but I like some of her ideas. So, I find them rational to some extent about some things. So, this is a good book, nevertheless, if you can see it. It is called Cynical Theories by Helen Pluckrose and James Lindsay. Now, this kind of solidified my definition of woke, which was already kind of coming about from some of the research I've done. And there are other books about that, these ideas. Now, do I think that the people that are woke, or better stated, the people that are in power that are pushing this agenda, do they have good intentions in regards to that? Fuck no. No, they do not. And case in point, the whole woke CIA thing, I think it's a way to placate the masses into believing that you're self-righteous, that you're a good person, blah, blah, blah. But you're the head of some kind of predatory financial organization, like BlackRock, or some of these, some of those places, Vanguard. Some of my 401ks might be through some of these organizations. I can't remember, but you're just like a venture capitalist that's like a predatory capitalist, which I do believe that exists. Like a presidential candidate, like Mitt Romney, he was Bain Capital. That was one of the pretty corrupt organizations, So I think wokeism is a tool for the elites to consolidate power in this guise that, there's a shiny object, Look at that little shiny object here. Here, take a look at this. It's a shiny, well, it's not really that shiny, but it's kind of a dark shirt. Anyways, I got some shinier things. This is a shiny object, these glasses, right? They shine. Oh, I'm gonna take all your money. Oh, I'm great. This is the woke part. I'm great. See, I'm great. I'm diverse. Oh, I'm gonna take all your money. Oh, we use slaves to mine cobalt. Oh, we're wrecking the earth anyways, but we're saying that we're for we're saying we're scared of climate change, but we're continuing to wreck the earth. Oh, pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. It's a distraction. Culture war in general is a distraction from the elites. Now, the ways that they've been used, I think Noam Chomsky has actually come out, and even though a non-broken clock can be wrong a couple times a day as well. Obviously, with Epstein and the CV-19, I do not agree with Noam Chomsky. He could be very well. I'll just say he might be a little bit too intelligent, if you know what I mean. Might be a little bit spooky, or have some spooky affiliations. I don't know why. I don't know what the point of that is. I don't know, PSYOP or whatever. I don't know, but he was right about a lot of things, and he still is back in the day, especially. So he talked about how postmodernism was kind of this kind of thing that the elites in France, just kind of mentally masturbated over, and they almost used it to further oppress people in a certain way. Further oppress language, and I'm not saying that all this is the thing. This is my view on all this stuff. So, like in the 90s, when someone did like a deconstructionist take on Alice in Wonderland, there was this cool movie, Alice, there were cool movies that if they were made by Disney and with this huge budget, diverse cast, they'd be called woke, right? But they were actually good. They were diverse, or these weird, even like comic books, DC Vertigo. You have this weird, like, more left-wing kind of current from these British authors like Neil Gaiman or Peter Milligan or, Garth Ennis or whoever, or Alan Moore for that matter. But the difference between that stuff and like these woke, big-budget Hollywood movies is there's no soul in these new movies. And back then, postmodernism was kind of edgy, was kind of cool, or deconstruction or critical theory applied to culture or whatever. It was kind of interesting, I mean, like in The Invisibles, Grant Morrison, there's a transgendered character that's a huge, prominent character, but that transgender character is actually fucking interesting. Doesn't look like a joke like these new, Snow White, seven magical creatures or whatever it looked like. It doesn't. The aesthetic is like interesting, and the storytelling is good. I mean, Critical Drinker has hundreds of videos about this. So the pendulum has swung way too far in this certain direction, and I'm opposed to me personally. I'm opposed to that. I'm opposed to anything being the norm. That sounds like a contrarian position. It is. I'm a contrarian, whatever. I think when things go too far in one direction, they need to be corrected, because that leads to tyranny and oppression and lack of freedom of speech, lack of freedom. And as a civil libertarian, at least, I am definitely pro-liberty. So, a little bit of postmodernism or a critical theory, or some of these ideas back in the day, they were interesting. They were academic exercises, basically. But when they become the status quo, that's when, and they become a tool of oppression rather than a system to dismantle oppression, that is when things become slated to be overthrown, because that is contradicting everything that it's supposed to be about in the first place. Of course, Noam Chomsky already shattered the myth that postmodernism is actually some type of anti-hierarchical thing with some of his lectures on it or his debates with Foucault and so forth. Now, that said, I think a little bit of postmodernism, it's interesting to read about. Some of that stuff is interesting to think about, to speculate, and some culture that has had postmodernist things, some pop culture, etc., has been good, has been interesting, especially back in the day. Sound like just like a jaded Generation X person, but still, back when it was more edgy in this more authentic, non-corporatist way, it was actually really interesting when that was applied to certain things in our culture and society. But now, it's like annoying and disreputable, not disreputable, very just very flawed and very contrived. That's the word I'm thinking of. Sorry. There's so many words. It's like a word fucking mash. Oh, we're gonna say these words. Oh, let's read something. Fuck, you know, whatever. But anyways, this is why the woke thing is very obnoxious and in your face. It's hammering you over the face. A lot of hypocrites too, like Lizzo. I don't want to. I know it's a big story right now, but you know, and there's a lot of weight in our society puts upon our celebrities, you know. So I'm trying to think of more fucking ones. I am losing weight. I need to lose a lot more, but like 60 pounds or something like that. But anyways, I'm sure I'm not as fat as Lizzo by BMI or scaling it up. Anyways, enough about Lizzo. I don't give a shit. Why do I talk about Lizzo? So, you know why I talk about Lizzo is because I see all these fucking articles because I still use Yahoo Mail. So I say Lizzo did this, So, the whole point is that anytime something becomes the rule, the status quo, there's danger there. And when something is like supposed to be against the status quo, becomes a status quo, it could be very opportunistic for the elites to use this so-called rebellion to, you know, further cement their power and their prestige and everything. This is what happened with wokeism. And wokeism, a lot of it just doesn't make sense. I mean, Judith Butler supposedly said something about like how males having close male friends is like hating women and like blatant homosexuality or something. Like, what the hell? I mean, talk about off your rocker. Some of these people are just off their rocker. Some of these people that are social justice oriented, feminists or whatever. That it's just mental masturbation, a lot of it. Let's just face it. You know, if you're in an ivory tower, you're academic, you're like writing all this shit. You know, this is like the James Lindsay did that. You know, he wrote all these. They wrote all these papers. Him and Helen Pluckrose and Boghossian, I think his name, Peter Boghossian, who's who I find a little bit more annoying than James Lindsay, even because Lindsay will. Pluckrose is like the most actual liberal of the three, and Boghossian's like the most right wing guy. And Lindsay's kind of in the middle. I don't want to say that they're heroic for what they did with the fake papers thing. If you read about it, you know, the fake academic papers. But it's pretty funny, nevertheless, that would be so ridiculous that, you know, like the whole notion of feminist glaciology. Just look it up. It's like, what the hell, you know? So that is kind of what I think wokeism is this kind of these things mixed together. Now the problem with also wokeism is when you get into the anti-woke, and I've done the dangers of being an anti-social justice warrior. I did that like fucking 8 years ago or something. Watch that video again if you can find it on my channel. I say the same points as I'm making right now. If you go too far in the other direction, you're going to become you will become some type of far-right ideologue, you know, tradcon, you know, just going like almost like going retro 80s, like Pat Robertson or some shit, or some Pat Buchanan, who actually wasn't all bad. Pat Buchanan's not all bad. He was a little suspicious about it. There's some suspicions I have about him. Some of his statements were a little, even for me, who won't ascribe someone to be like racist or anti-Semitic or whatever. Some of his statements he said, this is back in the 90s when he was being criticized, so just remember that. Like, when the left was criticizing people, usually was a little bit more legit than now, at least by like 20%, you know? So, I mean, there was a little bit of denialism on his part of a certain event that happened during World War II, I'll just say, like, flirting with those ideas. I don't know how much he got into that, but Pat Buchanan. So you become this kind of ideologue on the right. You're reacting to or is that left? Yeah, reacting to the left. You go far right, and I don't think people should do that. I think there's a danger there. That's why you're seeing like these Matt Walshes saying just ban sex reassignment surgery for adults. Why can't someone stay in the middle about certain things? Why can't you just stay in the middle? Why do you have to go one way or the other? That's something that bothers me about a lot of what's happened. there's the TradCon thing's becoming a thing again too. I'm just like, even like this. Okay, there's this pickup artist convention called the Under 21 convention, or no, not Under 21, called the 21 convention. Like people that were younger in the pickup artist scene from back in the day. It was 2007 or 2008 this thing got formed. And back then, you know, it was like these pickup artist guys and these manosphere guys that taught self-help and self-development and stuff. Now it's like these conservative, like traditionalist Christian, like almost Christian kind of guys that are appearing at this convention. I'm just like, okay, isn't the whole notion of like having random sex with a lot of strange women like anathema to like traditional TradCon kind of stuff? I mean, it's just kind of weird how that pendulum swung. I was looking at that today. I was looking at some of that. I was like, what the hell is this? I would never go to that thing. It's ridiculous. Not that all the people that were there that I don't disagree with everybody that's ever been at that convention. I'm just saying, like, seems like that's the thing. So it's just this weird trend to react to wokeism by being anti-woke in the extreme, you know. And I don't buy that either, you know. And I found myself counting how many people are in movies that are, you know, of a different race or whatever, you know, or how many women are in charge in a movie or a show, because of my focus on wokeism. It's like, is that woke? It makes you it kind of messes with your brain, and I realize that, and so I have to like make a kind of a middle ground here, because it's like I don't want to go to that direction of, you know, the far right, you know, but I don't want to go like to the far left either, where, you know, you're banning movies or not letting Oscars be won for movies that have like too many white people in it or whatever their new rules are. Not that that's gonna, I mean, it's just Hollywood is like kind of, you know, kind of in crisis right now anyways, thank God. But other than A24, I don't even think they're, you know, I like the independent studios like that, but I do not like Hollywood movies and stuff of modern time. But yeah, there's a danger of becoming anti-woke too much, where you go the opposite direction. Because part of the anti-woke thing is you're not racist, you're not misogynist, you're not homophobic or transphobic, but you're accused of it because you have a little bit of a nuanced opinion about something that happens to do with race or sex or gender or whatever. And that's the problem is with wokeism. So when you go anti-woke, I think initially, at least, a lot of people want it, or still a lot of people, like Bill Maher is kind of like this. They want to bring it more towards the middle. Some people, like Matt Walsh or whoever, want to bring it to the far, you know, further right. Maybe Ben Shapiro to some extent. And then it's just like with anything. So, but yeah, that's my definition of woke, and I think it fits pretty well, befitting the who these people are influenced by. You know, like Anita Sarkeesian was influenced by bell hooks, is very influenced by critical theory and, you know, some postmodernism and stuff. And, you know, you look into the actual intellectual roots of wokeness, as you call it, the academic think tanks. They're not really think tanks, they're more just thinkers that kind of congeal into almost like a collective think tank for these fucking maniacs. A lot of them really are, actually, you know. I mean, they're insane. Some of these people are insane. Okay, so you want to have things more towards the middle. Like, you know, maybe I'd be called a conservative. I'm going to do a video, I don't know about like soon, but maybe in a couple weeks or something, about opinions that I would be considered a right-winger now, for that were left-wing before. I'm going to try to compile this list and stuff and do it. But like, I might be accused of being conservative today, but like, or, you know, what conservatives stereotypically think, or people think conservatives want to bring things back to 1950, you know, or, you know, I want to bring things back to 2010. I don't see anything wrong with that, you know. 2010 is still light years beyond 1950, but it's a lot more sane in many ways than 2023, in my opinion, with a lot of the discourse that's going on. Now, 2014, that was the turning point in a lot of ways. with the whole woke thing just becoming the mainstream, Gamergate, and all this stuff happened, and the Trump thing was, in its embryonic stages in 2015 or 2014, 2015, 2016, and Ghostbusters 2016 is a big cultural touchstone of that too. So, anyways, that's about all. Peace out.